Oh, my Tourette's wanted to get there first. Hi everyone. I know it's been a while since I've just like sat and talked. Hi! But I was in bed last night and I realised I obviously raise a lot of awareness about Tourette's, post a lot of videos, and then I was like, wait a minute, beans! I don't even have a video explaining how my Tourette's developed and like when my tics started. Hi! So I should probably do that, which is what I'm doing today. Woohoo! Yay! My Tourette's are quite good today. My tics are quite good today, rather. However, I am a bit seizure-y, like there's seizure activity going on. I've been having some problems with my right eye, so I have an optician's appointment to get it checked out to see if it's anything like that. Basically, the past 5 days this video is going to be hard, I can tell already. I started having some double vision. Oh! Which is obviously a big red flag. Haha! The next few days the double vision continued, but now it's only in my right eye, and it's only my right eye that hurts, which is really weird. Hello! Ha! Beans! Sorry if you didn't really care about that, I just needed a bit of a rant, I guess. Hi! Hi! But I have been a bit seizure-y today. I've had a few absences already, so please bear with me while I try to make this video, because it can be difficult to keep my train of thought. And you might see a few absences. I'm not going to edit them out because like that just sort of defeats the purpose of what I do. Raising awareness and education. So if I edited them out, I'd be a bit of a hypocrite, wouldn't I? So yeah, let's get started. So I'm actually going to talk to you about when my tics started and when I finally got diagnosed with Tourette's, all that kind of stuff, just to answer some of your questions, because I do get asked like a lot. Jeez. Keep in mind that this is purely my tics and Tourette's story. I'm not going to talk about seizures or anything else that started. They do kind of overlap, but I'm not going to get into that. This story is just about my tics and Tourette's. Hey! Fuck you! Anyway, right, I keep getting distracted. So, beans! When I was about 12 or 13, fuck off, Peter. Sorry. He just messaged me, I got a notification. I was at school. I was in year 8 at the time. Beans! Which I'm not sure which grade that is if you're in America. I started having the hiccups. You know, obviously first we thought, oh, I've got the hiccups, you know, whatever. However, these hiccups started being every day. Hi! Every day, hundreds of times a day. Like with hiccups, you know, you have them for maybe 5 minutes and then they go, but mine wasn't like that. It was like single hiccups, hundreds of times a day, all day. We thought this was weird, but didn't really think much of it, just thought it was something that my body did. Hi! But after maybe a year, 2 years, we decided to look into it a bit more. You might be thinking, why did you leave it so long? But, you know, these were literally just hiccups, so, you know, like no big deal. They weren't really interfering with my day-to-day life too much, except that, you know, if I was at school and, you know, the classroom would be quiet and then I would hiccup and it would be like, oh no, you know, it is awkward, but that's about it. They didn't affect me in any other ways. Fuck off. So we went to the doctors. Me and my mum sat in the room, said to him, I've been hiccuping every day for 2 years. Can you do anything? And he was like, oh, that's really strange. But unfortunately there wasn't much that he could do. So we tried things like, because when you have the hiccups it's caused by your diaphragm, So I thought maybe there's something wrong with my diaphragm, maybe I'm eating too quickly when I have my food. So when we were at the dinner table, I started eating my meals slower. This made no difference whatsoever. Fast forward a few years, I'm now 14. I am still hiccuping every day. Random single hiccups, not even, you know, multiple at a time. You know, sometimes there'd be two. Literally hundreds of times a day, like all day. I'm gonna put in a clip that my friend Rachel found for me. She was looking through old videos and she found one where I have these hiccup sounds. So we were, I think 14 here, maybe 15. Just for a bit of clarification, I'm 20 now. I'm gonna be 21 in a few months. So this was quite a while ago. Beans! And I'm just gonna show you what these hiccup things look like, sound like, just so that you can see.
Do you know how Luke dropped his phone? What? No.
You can see that. Also, how long and like nice is my hair in that? I really like it. Anyways, so you can see that they look like hiccups. They sound exactly like a hiccup. So, you know, we just brushed them off for a while. We thought it was really weird. You know, people at school noticed that I had hiccups all the time, especially my best friend Eve. It actually became one of our inside jokes that I had hiccups all day, every day for years. And we thought it was hilarious, like really funny, just because it was so odd. Why? What? Fast forward another couple years, I was 16. And I started developing some other odd little behaviours. So by this time I had dropped out of secondary school, I had been homeschooled, and I was now in college. I'd had a lot of mental health difficulties, but I'm not going to go into that. Like I said, this is just a video about my tics. I started, developing some odd behaviours, including a movement which I couldn't control, where my head and my elbow would go out at the same time, like that. Yep. And I remember one day I was just sitting in a classroom thing, a resting area, and I went like that, and I like whacked my elbow off the radiator. And I think that was like, not a wake-up call, but that was when I started realising like, oh, this is actually really weird. And then around this time I started doing other odd things too, which I actually still do to this day. Say if there is a, not lamppost, but like a pole in the street, just kind of looks like this. This is my seizure bell, by the way. I've got it here because obviously I'm a bit weird today, so I ring it whenever I feel a seizure coming. But say there's this post sticking out of the ground, I have to tap it twice. And I started doing that when I was 16. And I still have to do it now. I haven't really talked to anyone about it actually. I don't really know why I do it. Maybe it's a tic, I don't know. So that started when I was 16, along with the head jerk I told you about. Really weird other behaviours. I'd tip out my pencil case and line them all up. It was really weird. But like I said, I really wasn't in a good place at this time. Everything's just really foggy, to be honest. It really wasn't great. And when I was 16, I had my first seizure. Everything kind of blew up then. But that's a story for another time. I had a really bad seizure in college one day. As usual, I was taken to hospital by an ambulance. The staff had to call an ambulance. Hey! And while I was in hospital, they said, is there anything you want to tell us, or anything you want to talk about, ask us? Sorry about the lighting. And I said, actually, yeah, I have these weird hiccups and a movement like that. And the doctor said to me, oh yeah, it sounds like you have tics. And I was like, oh, okay. Beans! Ooh. I didn't say beans. And that really was a big all those years of hiccups finally made sense. Because when I have these hiccup noises that I showed you in the video of when I was 14, 15, when you have hiccups, they can be painful. You can feel them moving in your chest. You can feel the air. All those years of hiccups, I never felt that. I never felt anything. It was just a noise coming out of my mouth. There was nothing going on in my chest, which totally makes sense that it was a tic. It just really, it was like, pieces of a jigsaw coming together. I did a bit more research on tics when he told me, but I didn't look into it too much because, I didn't have loads of tics at the time, and I didn't want to look too much into it in case, just in case my brain was suggestible to picking up new tics, and I didn't really want that. I was happy having mild tics at the time. Then when I was about a year later, I was 17 in college, I started developing more tics. Like I said, it still wasn't a good time for me. I'm trying to think, which ones did I develop? Oh yeah, I started blinking like this. Which is still a tic that I have now. What? Cheese. Beans and cheese. I started banging my chest, I think. I was banging something on my chest. Pretty sure it was like that. Again, still a tic I have now. What? I started clearing my throat constantly, like like that when I was 17. Or clapping, little head jerks. I don't know, we just thought it was anxiety tics. Because at the time, I had anxiety, depression, DR, DP, so we thought it was caused by the stress and anxiety that I was having. Beans! I was on one-to-one support at the time that my tics started escalating. I had to have one-to-one support, sometimes two-to-one support, because of my seizures. What? They were very severe and quite harmful and dangerous for me. So, I had to have staff with me at all times, and I did feel quite bad for them because I was high maintenance. I was easygoing, I wasn't naughty or loud or anything. I actually had mutism at the time, selective mutism, so of course I wasn't loud, but I wasn't a naughty student. I was very easygoing. However, my seizures made me quite high maintenance in that way. Haven't really talked about selective mutism much either. If you want me to, let me know. Anyways, yeah, my one-to-one started noticing these tics, but we didn't really talk about it much. Not that I would talk back to her anyway. And then in 2018, I had a seizure and my legs were paralyzed for a month. I kept having episodes like this: leg paralysis, arm paralysis, hands locking up, a few other new symptoms. And then in 2019, I was finally diagnosed with FND, which is functional neurological disorder. I've done a couple videos on it before in the past. Get lost. And that gave us more answers. And then we saw that, Tourette's has a ginormous list of symptoms. So many things can be FND, but if you have FND, you have to be careful not to put your new symptoms down to FND because it could be something else, which I learnt the hard way. While we were researching FND and talking to the neurologist, we discovered that tics can be part of FND. So then we thought, that's amazing, Finally, again, after all these years of hiccups, tics, we now know why I have FND. What? So that was perfect. And 2018, 2019, I would go through flare-ups in tics where I started developing vocal tics. I wasn't really saying stuff I do now. Now my tics will say full sentences, swearing. They will actually sing sometimes. What? But during these flare-ups, I developed tics where I would say, wow, and like, what else did I say? Hey, that was it. I would shout hey quite a bit. Whoop! I started clapping a lot more head jerks. Whoop! I'll put in a clip now. This video is from 2018 or 2019. This was during a tic flare-up, so I'll show you now. So you can see what I mean, clapping, head jerking, and this whole time we called them FND tics, which is understandable, I guess, because yes, they were getting more severe, but they still weren't awful, which sounds really weird. But you know, at this time, looking back at that video, to me, those are mild tics. Not totally mild, you know, they're not like the video that I showed you when I was 14 with long hair and I was hiccuping. Not as mild as that, but they're still not severe. Years went by, still classed as FND tics. Totally made sense in our minds, me and my family. And then, May 2020, I had my first ever tic attack. I've also done a YouTube video on this if you want to go and watch it. It's really strange looking back on it because my tics still weren't how they are now. And I've actually put in the caption, I had my first ever tic attack and hopefully my last, which, you know, that didn't age well. I had that tic attack while we're out walking. We were out walking by a river, as I explain in the YouTube video if you want to watch that. Hey! And it was literally on that walk, me and my mum started thinking, we don't think this is FND tics anymore. Wow! You don't get tics like that with FND. I mean, I'm sure in some cases maybe, but wow! And then from that day, they have just escalated and escalated and escalated until they are what they are now. Because I'm just sitting here talking and I'm focused on a story, my tics are fairly calm, so this is quite you're seeing me in a calm moment. So I've forgotten what I was saying. Oh right, yeah, they just kept getting worse, you know, every day I was getting new tics. Continued having tic attacks. Wow! When the tics never went away and there was, you know, starting to get debilitating, I couldn't do what I normally could. We started thinking maybe this is Tourette's. And because it was getting so extreme, we were like, we need to go to the doctors. We need to talk to my neurologist. Wow! However, after my FND diagnosis in 2019, they discharged me. So, we had to try and get another neurologist to talk to me and see me and stuff. Wow! No, don't rip this, please. Okay, but side note, is this not the most gorgeous top you have ever seen? I feel so beautiful. But yeah, so I was on a waiting list for the neurologist. However, it was taking months and months, and my tics were just getting worse and worse, and we were like, we need to hurry this up. Like, we need answers. So that was when we made the decision to go to a private neurologist. Yes, it was going to be pricey, but it would get us seen quicker and it would give us the answers that we were looking for. This neurology appointment was a Zoom call because of, you know, thanks to Corona and everything, we couldn't see him in person, like we normally would have. We had a Zoom call. He saw me ticking. We told him the backstory, you know, that I've had tics for years now. Wow! And he said to us, have you heard of Tourette syndrome? And we were like, yeah. And he said, you know, you have Tourette syndrome. Beans! Fuck you. And it was sort of bittersweet because leading up to that appointment, I knew that if I got diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome, it would mean that I would have tics my whole life now. Wow! Which is a lot to carry on my little shoulders. So I was worried about that, but you know, maybe it would open new doors. I could have medication. Wow! You know, stuff that might help the tics. Wow! It was kind of weird. He just said, you have Tourette's. And then we had like, you know, the whole appointment was like 10 minutes and then he left and he was like, okay, I've got Tourette's. And it was really weird that day. I felt really weird. I was happy because I had answers, but then at the same time I was a little bit upset because all those years we thought it was FND when I could have had the right diagnosis years ago, which was annoying, but never mind. You know, you can't change the past. I've got the answers now, so. And I have tried medication for my tics. I'm about to start a new one. The last one didn't go very well. Beans! Took me probably about 7.5 years to get diagnosed with Tourette syndrome. A lot of people don't have that, but for me it was because I had other things going on as well. If I didn't have FND or seizures, like anything else, I would have been diagnosed with Tourette's like years ago. What? But unfortunately it just didn't work out that way. But which is why it took so fucking long. Which is why it took so long. So yeah, that is my Tourette's journey, my Tourette's diagnosis story. I hope this was okay to watch. As you know, I get really insecure doing videos like this and I think I'm really boring. But I hope this gives you a little bit of insight. Please don't be put off by this if you are, you know, waiting for a Tourette's diagnosis. It shouldn't take you 7 or 8 years like it did for me. My tics was sort of, they had other stuff piled up on top of them and tics were like at the bottom of the list, if you know what I mean. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you a bit more background. Oh, I'm stuck. Yeah, I hope this gave me a bit bollocks! I hope this gave you a bit more background. I hope this gave you a bit more background and a bit more insight into what it was like years ago and stuff. Beans! Yeah, so if people could stop telling me I'm faking, that would be great. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video. Unless you follow me on TikTok and then you'll see my face every single day. So follow me on TikTok if you want to see my face every day. Bye. Oh.